Hello, dear ones, it's Alice. I am of the stars. We've been talking about strange thoughts in the noosphere and how very odd they are and how unrelated to us as light workers, and whether they have to do with sympathetic magic or maybe magic from other countries, black magics from here and there. We haven't yet discussed black magic from the Philippines. But before we do that, I think it would be a good idea to go over some of the tools in my blog, Awakening with Planet Earth, that you can do to rid yourself of upsetting, recurring threads of energy, misqualified energy in the noosphere. You'll find a tab called Contents under More, or it may be easily visible to you on my homepage. And that includes just a really long table of contents that I'm just offering some examples from today. Under the category My Favorites, there are a lot of different categories, but one interesting one is Prayers, Blessings, Mantras, Chants, Affirmations, White Magic by Alice. This one here. Those are new ways that I've come up with that you can counter the dark and make your energy feel very, very light. It might be prayers or blessings or mantras or chants or affirmations or white magic by me. And by white magic, I don't mean white magic that fights the dark. I mean white magic that creates light. Okay, in the last video, we were talking about some very odd thoughts that I can't place anywhere, that sound kind of like what animals do. Things like the thought of throwing urine into a victim's yard, or throwing feces into their yard, or throwing feces at them, or poisoning the victim's plants, or trespassing on their property and vandalizing their property, or poisoning things inside their house, or just the thought of that, or having your cat hunt on the victim's property. And why is that so bad, I wonder? Or throwing rats or rodents into the victim's yard. And why is that considered so bad? Why do I think of it, in fact, as being a very bad thing? The notion of acting out rape on another person and visualizing that you are raping the victim. Curses, all kinds of curses, like curses that the victim should fall down, curses that the victim should fall ill, yada, yada, all that stuff. The notion of sending one's spirit, which I think of as astral body, into the victim's home to inflict harm on the victim, or on the victim's wife, or on the victim's children, or of sending one's spirit into a pet of the victim or into a wild animal and having that wild animal inflict harm on the victim. I think that will do for now in terms of misqualified energy. We talked about it last time too. And I thought there's a blog category that I have in Awakening with Planet Earth that might help explain this. The blog category is Feral Drives and Pack Instincts. Feral Drives, Pack Instincts. And at one time, years ago, I found out I would channel all kinds of things about feral drives and pack instincts, mainly without research. It just came to me. But there were also some field trips to zoos in the early morning hours in San Diego many, many years ago, and also reading I did about Jane Goodall and her work, and that of other researchers on primate behavior that led me to an understanding of feral drives and pack instincts, which I think might help explain these very out there ideas that seem to be circulating through the noosphere. Feral means wild. It might have to do with wild instincts or pack instincts that were the motivating factor for the behavior of primates before they became human beings. And these might be buried deep within ourselves, and we might be liberating them. We might be transforming them to the light and to higher understanding so that we no longer act them out. I suggest reading the posts in that category, feral drives and pack instincts. That includes as well the subcategories on bonding, competition, dominance and submission, and pack ordering. Yeah, I think all those would be especially pertinent. Then there's a category I have, health, healing. And in that category, there's quite a bit. But I suggest activations of light and invocations, and languages of light and sound. And also physical regeneration. And that is because these are relatively new methods conveyed or channeled by the light workers for the use of all humankind in healing the physical body and maintaining personal health. I'll read them to you again. Activations of light and invocations, languages of light and sound, and physical regeneration. These are all in the larger category, health-healing. There's a category called human, species, interspecies, and extraterrestrial communication. If you'd like to know, as a light worker, whether animals have been grabbed by a black magic person and caused to attempt to inflict harm on you, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, or physically, then it might be good to know what the animals are saying to you. Okay? And so in this category, human, interspecies, and extraterrestrial communication, there are many examples of what animals are speaking, translations, transcriptions of what they are saying. And these transcriptions, along with the videos, allow you as a human being to develop the ascension gift of universal translation. Okay? Once you do that, you'll know whether you need to do one of the light worker things, such as activations of light, invocations of light, languages of light and sound, in order to heal yourself and prevent that from happening. Rise above that and beyond that to the greater light. It's our right as ascending human beings to know the languages of all the beings of Earth and of all the extraterrestrial beings, whether they be negative or positive extraterrestrial beings. Once we see the light and hear the light and understand the light, then we can have a positive effect on the light. Do you see? We have to understand what's happening in order to know that we rise beyond that through alignment with God, or through the help of our ascension team, or through a change up in the dimensions and timelines, however the method we choose. So we recognize when there's danger, and then we turn to the light. And this category, human, interspecies, and extraterrestrial communication, can do that for us. It can lay the groundwork for an understanding of where we are at this moment in this dual universe, so that we maintain form, okay, so that we stay healthy, so that we can do the work we were sent here to do. Also in that category is a discussion of subconscious and unconscious symbolism for human beings, so that we can rise to an understanding of the subconscious and unconscious minds, so that we can move past that to the higher minds and so that we can avoid acting on the basis of things that we don't even know exist in our own energy field. And as far as interspecies communication is concerned, a lot has been made of negative alien beings, and a lot should have been made of positive alien beings, of Christed alien species, without whose help we would not be here now. Okay? So there are, here on Earth, many beings, including reptiles and insects and many hostile microorganisms that work against our survival here on Earth. Everyone knows this. And overriding all those beings are negative alien beings. Okay? But we all know to stay away from ants and termites and very aggressive bees and giant reptiles on foreign islands and venomous snakes and hungry mountain lions and all the beings that threaten our survival on Earth. Okay? So when we stay away from those beings, we stay away from the influence of negative alien beings. Do you see? Nevertheless, it's very good to know the language of the hostile beings on Earth, because in doing that, we also can counteract the overriding spirits of these beings, which are what the military calls aliens. Okay? Aliens. In a misguided attempt to use those alien spirits to wage war against other human beings. We human beings, we need to unite together to keep at bay the negative alien beings that overlight the hostile beings, the predators that will prey upon humans. Okay? Here in the cities of Earth, it's very easy to forget how many of these there are. It might be mold on barley, don't you know? It might be infestations on our crops. It might be great flocks of grasshoppers that come down and eat our crops. It might be the great predators of the wild that will grab us if we find ourselves suddenly in the wild without support of what comes so easily to our aid in the cities. It might be the lack of modern medicine in rural locations. Okay. So the idea that negative alien beings will help us to fight other people is an irrelevant notion. Okay? The negative alien beings are the forces that destroy modern society, that destroy our lives, that destroy civilization. Okay? If we band together with other cultures that promote harmony in the world, then we'll be doing a better job than trying to fight other cultures. If there are cultures that are overlit by these beings, then I can see that there might be a problem. We as light workers believe not in fighting the dark, but in increasing the light. So the things that we do to increase our light, we feel to increase the light of the world and to promote peace and loving relationships between nations. We think these are more important than fighting. On the other hand, there are times, as everyone knows, when people must fight in order to preserve their own countries. We hope that it won't come down to this, but instead, the thing that people choose to watch on their free time on television might promote a notion of peace and inspiration for all the peoples of Earth, instead of casting darkness into the noosphere. You know, it's kind of hard to find that kind of watching on television or in the movies. The things that we choose to do might bring joy into our lives and joy into our neighborhoods and joy everywhere on Earth. These are things that we can always choose to do. you would be surprised how much our joy affects the joy of everyone everywhere. You know, more so than defense. But here in this world and in these times, I admit we must first set a state of survival for ourselves and from there move into joy. Okay, we're back with these categories. There is a category called mental filters, and I came up with this category to show how we come up with notions bubbling up from the subconscious mind, which then automatically influence our conscious behavior. If you read a few of the mental filters described in that category, I think you'll get an understanding of your own jack-in-the-boxes that spring forth from your subconscious mind and suddenly cause you to act in a certain way. And that might then give you a chance to act rationally where other people are not acting rational, and to not be influenced by these weird snippets of information floating around in the noosphere. Coming up next, the category mind. And in that category, it's a huge category, I suggest mastery of mind. If you read that subcategory through, that will help, because we must master our own minds in order not to be influenced by other people who want to master us. We must stand with and for ourselves in the light of God in order to prevent other people from tainting our energy field with darkness. We have to have a notion that we're a standalone feature of our energy field. We stand alone with God, okay? And that none other may injure us. Only God is there with us, always throughout this experience of this reality and this incarnation. Mastery of mind, that subcategory. Then there's a section, physics of ascension, astrogeophysics, dimensions, timelines, mastery of time and space. That whole section is extremely important to the Lightworker. Okay, it's new information that's channeled by me, sometimes by others. Sometimes we band together and channel things. Why not read that one through? Whatever strikes you as especially important. In terms of protecting ourselves from noospheric misqualified energy, there's a blog category called Protection, Sanctuary, Upliftment. Meditations, prayers, prophecy, songs and stories. All these will be helpful. These are for inspiration. Then there's a blog category, psychology, psychiatry, spiritual counseling. I vote for spiritual counseling, but others may like psychology and psychiatry. It's up to you. The category is there for you to take a look at. And I think you'll find many new things in it, things you may raise an eyebrow at, but these are tools that are available to you for free at my website. Okay, reading again these two conflicting categories, you could say, or you might say, supplementing each other. Protection, sanctuary, upliftment. That's one. Psychology, psychiatry, spiritual counseling. That's another. One is self-help, and the other is help from other people. And another such, just beneath that, the category religions of the world. Whatever religion appeals to you. I find interesting esoteric lore, occult mysteries, arcana. That is because there are certain insights in that subcategory that supplement the world religions. You know, the thing about religion is that a lot of people think religion is the only answer. Okay. But for the Lightworker, a lot of the time religion is an impediment to bringing in the light, and that is because people identify social values with religion, and they mistake faith for institutions or people in high places in institutions. They mistake faith for a building or a congregation. Okay? Faith has to do with the presence of God in our hearts. Okay? And insofar as attendance at a church increases faith in God, then that church is useful to us, the light workers, in bringing in the light. The minute that there are conspiracies or plots or diminution of the light or an attempt to grab the light worker and put him or her in a lightless cage, then religion ceases to be helpful to us. The problem, as I see it, is that religion is an earthly institution and that God stands beyond all that. So somehow we have to spring out of that trap of religion and find in ourselves the guiding light of the foundation of all religions, the existence of God within us and beyond us. If we can then attend a church service or go to temple or whatever it is, read the esoteric lore and not be caught within that box, but still remembering the light as it comes down through us. If we can do that, then it's safe to go to church or temple or wherever it is. If we cannot, then we have to steer clear, But a lot of people going through this ascension process find within their church nurturing and sustenance sufficient to their need in ascending. It's up to you. Generally speaking, the light workers it's like Jesus Christ in the temple. The light workers are cast out as pariahs and so forth. Yeah. Their light is too great. See, if that's the case for you, then try not to worry about it. Just go and worship in the temple of nature. Worship in your own home. Make your house a great and beautiful place where God can reside with you, Pray for those people in those other places during their time of worship. Maybe that will help too, So there's more than one way to do it. There's those that feel safer in that environment and those that are cast out from that environment. And there may be churches and faiths where you're welcome. I see in the table of contents quite a few categories that are not that important because they're bound by time and space, such as social issues is a huge category and includes things like culture, economics, government, history, things that a lot of people are very interested in, but which are not too important to the light worker because these are specific to a particular timeline and a particular dimension. And we rise past that as light workers. So it's okay to look at this, but not too important. And the full name of the category is Social Issues, Human Affairs, Social Planning. You could save that, put it on the back burner for later on. And beneath that category is Star Beings. That's quite interesting to most light workers. And I work with some of the star beings, but you may find most of that information elsewhere with others of the light workers. So just see what I have. It may supplement what you know. There's a subcategory, Planets-Council of Nine. That's the planets in our star system. The planets themselves are great beings, and the sun is a great being. And that's the basis for the notion of astrology. Okay. You, as a light worker, can come in contact with the planets, the great beings, the sun itself, and the planets and suns of other constellations. You can do that. And that will help rise above social issues, human affairs, and social planning. You'll be in the greater light, far beyond all of this, what they call the passing show, don't you know? So you might want to take a look at planets, Council of Nine. That's a subcategory of the category star beings. Okay, another interesting category is theology. That has to do with the study of God, and it's because of theology that we have the current conflict in urban environments and in places like Brazil and the Philippines between the angelic realm and the demonic realm. If people were not so crushed together, I think they would immediately come to an understanding that alliance with the angelic realm is far preferable to alliance with the demonic realm. Because through the angelic realm we can live healthy, happy, fulfilled lives. But through alliance with the demonic realm, we descend into darkness. All the light workers know this, okay? And yet, in the big cities and of Los Angeles, for instance, here in the United States or in Brazil or in the Philippines and many other places on earth, there's a great conflict of the demonic realm that has established itself with some of the people and is warring with the angelic realm here. It's quite a light show if you're a light worker. It's quite incredible sometimes. But we as light workers need to detach ourselves from that fight. The dark always wants to war with the light. Okay, but as you know, the minute you walk into a dark room and turn on the light, the dark flees, okay? The dark has no chance, really. Only by marrying the dark through cause and effect do we meld our energy with the dark and come out with gray. That's not a good idea for a light worker, okay? So don't turn the light halfway on by fighting the dark here in the big cities of earth. Rise past that to the light, and from the light of God, cast down light upon earth. Don't argue with the dark, they say. You know, for instance, I could say, I'm hearing, I will throw urine onto your tomato plants. Okay. If I keep hearing this over and over again, I'll just remove my tomato plants. I can buy them at the store. I could buy them at the farmer's market, okay? I don't have to deal with this terrible thought, you know? I don't have to war with anybody. I can just take whatever action allows me to bring in the light and be joyful. Here, I will trespass on your property and vandalize it, okay? I can hear this year after year, or I can just make my fence a little higher and create an impediment that then gives me peace of mind, you know? I don't have to war. I can come up with a workaround, you know? Okay, back to these ideas. I will my hostile spirit into your cat, okay? And while you're sleeping, the cat will give you nightmares. Okay, I can deal with that, okay? Will not come into my bedroom at night, okay? And if things get really awful sometimes during certain states of the sphere of Earth, then if your cat is susceptible to things like that, you can leave your cat in the bathroom at night or when you're resting and leave it with plenty of food and water and a place with the litter box there in the bathroom and make sure that it's plenty warm in there and so forth. A nice place to be. And then sleep someplace far from your cat and prevent that from happening. Unfortunately, lower animals are subject to dark influences. We in human form, we have the distinction of being able to use our higher minds and our very high minds to influence the darkness of our subconscious and unconscious minds and and evade the darkness on earth. We do that through the help of others who are even much more bright than we. The idea here is that there is a demonic realm, there is an angelic realm. We invoke the angels. We don't fight the dark. The dark hopes that we will fight it. We flood light through earth, just as turning on the light switch in a dark room would do. Okay? We create conditions that are safe for ourselves, safe for our animals, safe for everybody on earth. We can do that. Under the subcategory God Source, there's a category called Karma, Incarnations, Reincarnation, Causal Reality. That's karma, incarnations, reincarnation, causal reality. And this is helpful to the Lightworker because an understanding of causal reality gives us an understanding of when we're in a causal trap, when we need to invoke a higher power to spring us out of the causal trap, the karmic trap, into the realm of Dharma, into the realm of blessed life. Do you see? In that general category to do with karma, there are two subcategories that are good. One is the Glam effect, which can cause some pretty bad ascension symptoms, and so we want to escape from that. One is grouping, leadership, and grouping and leadership are that which we grow because many other people gang up against us in a Glam effect in the misqualified energies coming in and try to convince us to group, to be led, not to seek beyond earthly power to God. Okay, so these two subcategories, Glam effect and grouping - leadership. Also under God-source is a category called Theosophy, direct knowledge of God. You'll notice the difference between theology, which is teaching about God or wisdom about God, and Theosophy, which is direct knowledge of God. I'm greatly in favor of Theosophy, but it's not for everybody. A lot of people want to read about it and believe it, just as it's written down by others who were Theosophists. It's okay to do that. This is a bit exhausting, is it not? Let's end for now, and next time, in the next video, we'll begin with a favorite category of mine called Transcending the Dark. God bless you all and keep you safe and be with you through all your days. In love, light, and joy, this is Alice B. Clagett. I am of the stars, and so are you. Come and visit me at awakeningwithplanetearth.com. See you there.